Hello, dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of the Daily Debate. I'm your host for tonight, Mohamed Abdurrahim, and tonight is a great day in Egypt's history as we are celebrating the 43rd anniversary of the Sinai Liberation Day. It is the day that the land of Sinai was completely restored in 1982 back to Egyptian sovereignty. The day that paved the way for the withdrawal of the last Israeli soldier from the city of Taba in 1988. This came in accordance to the International Peace Treaty of 1979 and the settlements of the long diplomatic disputes with Israel. On this day, the 25th of April, Egyptians gave tribute to the Egyptian officers, soldiers, and martyrs of the Egyptian armed forces and the sacrifices which led to the recovery of Sinai from occupation. Also the sacrifices, of course, of the entire nation of Egypt, the entire Egyptian people alongside their armed forces. We'll be talking about the developmental projects in Sinai, the comprehensive national plan to change life in Sinai, the land of turquoise, to inhabit Sinai, to get millions out there, and the great transfiguration site in St. Catherine, which is considered Egypt's gift to the entire world, and of course all religions of the world. And we'll be having with us a distinguished guest here in the studio to talk about these topics later in the program. We'll also be watching reports about the developments and the developmental plans for Sinai. But first to our top stories here on this Thursday. As President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi laid a wreath this morning at the Armed Forces Martyrs Memorial in Nasr City as part of Egypt and the Armed Forces celebrations of the 43rd anniversary of the liberation of Sinai. The President was received by Lieutenant General Abdelmajid Saqr, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, and the Minister of Defense and Military Production, and senior state officials. The official spokesperson for the presidency stated that the President also visited the grave of the late President Mohamed Anwar al-Sadat, where he laid a wreath and received and recited the Al-Fatiha. So the President lays a wreath this morning at the Armed Forces Martyrs Memorial in Nasr City as part of the celebrations of the 43rd anniversary of the liberation of Sinai. Also on Thursday, President al-Sisi received a Kuwaiti investment delegation headed by Mr. Mohamed Jassim al-Saqr, the head of the Kuwaiti side in the Egyptian Kuwaiti Cooperation Council. The official spokesperson for the presidency stated that the president welcomed the Kuwaiti delegation and praised the brotherly relationship that binds him to His Highness Sheikh Mish'al Al-Ahmed Al-Jabir Al-Subah, the Emir of the State of Kuwait, and the strong fraternal ties between Egypt and Kuwait. President al-Sisi highlighted that the challenges facing the global economy and the international circumstances necessitate intensifying cooperation and integration between Arab countries, especially in the light of the unique nature of the Egyptian-Kuwaiti relations, which serve as a model of constructive and fruitful cooperation based on trust and mutual respect. Ambassador Mohammed al-Shinawi, the official spokesperson for the presidency, added that the president emphasized the pivotal role of businessmen and industrialists in advancing bilateral cooperation between Egypt and Kuwait through investment in joint projects that benefit both countries, stimulate real economic growth, and provide job opportunities for future generations. And also on Thursday, His Excellency the President received Antonio Tajani, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Italy. The official spokesperson for the presidency stated that the Italian minister conveyed to the president the greetings of Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and her commitment to strengthening bilateral relations between Italy and Egypt. President Assisi praised the close Egyptian-Italian relations and the ties that unite the two friendly peoples. Ambassador Ashinawi, the spokesperson for the presidency, added that the meeting addressed ways to enhance bilateral cooperation, particularly in the economic, trade and investment fields, as well as opportunities to develop partnerships in the areas of energy, food security, agriculture and livestock to achieve the interests of both countries and maximize the benefits of these areas. The meeting also addressed the importance of cooperation between Italy and Egypt in combating illegal immigration and regular migration, and the need to support Egypt in this regard, especially given Egypt's success in preventing any boats carrying illegal migrants from departing from its coast since 2016, and Egypt's hosting of approximately 9.5 million foreigners displaced by the crises in the region. Those were our major stories for this Thursday. And now let's watch a report tackling the Egyptian investments in education and higher education in the land of turquoise, Sinai.
As the Arab Republic of Egypt celebrates the 43rd anniversary of the liberation of the beloved Sinai Peninsula, and in light of the significant attention the political leadership gives to major national projects, especially in the Sinai Peninsula and the Canal cities, the higher education and scientific research sector has received substantial support from the leadership. This has contributed to achieving development in this important region within the new republic. Ayman Ashur, Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research, affirmed that the state has spared no effort in developing the Sinai Peninsula and the Canal cities, with unprecedented support from President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Major national and developmental projects have been implemented, underscoring the priority of Sinai and the Canal cities on the comprehensive and sustainable development map in line with Egypt's Vision 2030. The state has implemented numerous projects in higher education in Sinai with a total cost of £23 billion, in addition to the ongoing construction of several colleges and the equipping of laboratories and workshops. There are numerous national higher education projects implemented in Sinai and the Canal cities to complete comprehensive development. He explained that the Egyptian state places education at the forefront of its priorities, considering it a means for progress and achieving prosperity and flourishing. The diversity of the higher education system, which consists of governmental, private, national, technological universities, branches of foreign universities, universities with framework and international agreements and special laws, in addition to institutes. This diversity contributes to offering modern, interdisciplinary study programs that meet the requirements of the local, regional and international labor markets.
Thanks to Manel Al-Ibyari and Khaled Abdelbari for this report. And we also have another report prepared by the two, and it talks about the comprehensive national plan to change life in the beloved Sinai.
Egypt has set the Sinai Peninsula on the path of real development. It has launched a comprehensive plan for the development of the turquoise land. In this regard, Egypt has launched major and unprecedented national projects covering various sectors, linking the Eastern Egypt portal to the Delta by making the canal cities a natural extension of the Nile Valley and overcoming all obstacles in order to attract investment opportunities. In addition to the interest in service sectors such as education, health and agriculture, as well as the focus on providing all forms of support and social protection to Sinai people who are in the core of development. Such contributed to a paradigm shift that changed the face of life in Sinai and transforming it into a promising attraction and an environment conducive to investment and reconstruction in a state of security and stability, which has also led international institutions to commend Sinai's continued development efforts at various levels. The government exerts efforts to develop investment and industrial infrastructure to attract and encourage investors in Sinai and canal cities, where total public investments for Sinai and canal cities reached 45.1 billion Egyptian pound in 2021-2022 compared to 6.2 billion Egyptian pound in 2013-2014, with an increase of 627.4%. The most prominent industrial projects in Sinai include the Small Industries Complex in South Raswa, which encompasses 118 units and costs 403 million Egyptian pounds, while the production capacity of the fish processing and packaging plant in Al-Qantara Sharq of 2,500 tons per year. On medium, small and micro enterprises in Sinai, 42.5 thousand projects were funded by the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency at a cost of about 1.8 billion Egyptian pound. 5,428 projects were funded by the National Project for Community, Human and Local Development, Mashruak, or Your Project, at a cost of 749 million Egyptian pound, providing 38.4 thousand job opportunities until the end of February 2022, as well as approving the funding of 788 projects from the Local Development Fund, with a total investment of 5.5 million Egyptian pound in North Sinai until mid-April 2023, concerning developing the irrigation system and protecting Sinai from the dangers of floods. 95.7 thousand fedans of the new land were completed within the first phase of the modern irrigation system in North Sinai. In addition, 423 facilities for flood protection were established in North and South Sinai until December 2021. With regard to the development of basic infrastructure and services in Sinai, 18.8 thousand social housing units were implemented at a cost of 3.3 billion Egyptian pound, salient of which are 4,000 social housing units in South Sinai and 2,136 social housing units in North Sinai, as well as the implementation of 54.5 thousand housing units for the development of squatter settlements. Unsafe squatter settlements are no longer found in Sinai. 45 Bedouin cluster projects were also implemented, with a total of 4,100 Bedouin houses, in addition to establishing 18 development clusters in North and South Sinai governorates. The government is keen to establish an extensive transport network to connect Sinai through roads, tunnels and floating bridges projects, where 5,000 kilometers of roads and tunnels were implemented and upgraded.
All right, that was a glimpse really of the comprehensive national plan to change life in the land of turquoise as Egypt celebrates the 25th of April, the 43rd anniversary of the liberation of Sinai. Of course, the Great Transfiguration site in St. Catherine has also been a great achievement, and it's considered Egypt's gift to the world, and to, of course, it belongs to all religions in the world, in the land of peace, the land of tolerance, the land of love here in Egypt.
Egypt's government recently launched the Great Transfiguration Project, a national scheme comprising a set of 14 plans for the development of South Sinai. The project focuses on the area of Mount Sinai behind the St. Catherine's Monastery, the place where God appeared to Moses and gave him the 10 Commandments according to the Old Testament of the Bible. The project has long been demanded by investors and Sinai residents with the aim of achieving the optimum use of St. Catherine's natural resources and the legacy of an area full of religious sites, but that has been in desperate need of infrastructure and utility networks. The Great Transfiguration is being implemented by the Central Agency for Urbanization, an affiliate of the Ministry of Housing, Utilities and Urban Communities, with the joint cooperation of the Ministries of Tourism and Environment. It includes plans to reuse underground water and establish a road network linking the touristic destinations of South Sinai, such as Debat and Sharm el-Sheikh. The project is funded by the New Urban Communities Authority, based on the directives of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, to develop the area of St. Catherine's that enjoys a high historical and spiritual value. The city, the land of peace, nature reserve, was the meeting point of the 3 monotheistic religions of Judaism, Christianity and Islam. The Great Transfiguration Project includes upgrading the existing Lodge and constructing a new one, establishing a peace park, building a hotel on the mountain, opening a new visitor center and administrative complex, and developing the touristic area and the heritage center in the city. It will also focus on upgrading the residential area of the local Bedouin and building a new residential compound, developing the valley of the monastery, and constructing a new road and utilities network with safety measures against floods. There will also be a spiritual sanctuary in the mountains surrounding the Holy Valley. This area will become a premium destination for holistic and therapeutic tourism, in addition to being a Mecca for mountain climbers. The project will make available various touristic and entertainment services for visitors, such as golf cars to transport tourists from the parking area to the St. Catherine Monastery, one of the world's most ancient Christian monasteries. Besides developing the St. Catherine's Airport and operating daily flights between Cairo and St. Catherine's, the project will see thermal cameras installed on top of the mountains to be linked to checkpoints to detect movements remotely. The buildings and facilities being constructed as part of the project are fully in line with international environmental standards, with the protection of the natural environment of St. Catherine's being one of its major goals. Maintaining the environmental and visual character of the natural environment was key to making a place a magnet for spiritual tourism.
All right, thanks again, Manal Al-Abyari and Khalid Abdelbari, and thank you, dear viewers, for staying with us. Time now to introduce you to our dear guest, Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, the economic expert. Very good evening to you, Dr. Roshdy. Thank you for joining us. So it's a great day for Egypt, the 25th of April, of course, which coincides on Friday. But Egypt is celebrating already this great anniversary. Now, we're talking here specifically in this episode about the developmental plans. And Egypt is spending more than 700 billion Egyptian pounds to develop the Sinai Peninsula. We have projects across the board: housing projects, tourism projects, seawater desalination plants, agricultural clusters, drilling wells, and you name it. Talk to us about the importance of these investments, the development scheme for Sinai, the importance of having hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, to live in Sinai in the near future.
First of all, good evening to you and our audience, and I would like to thank Daily Debate, you and Daily Debate team for this kind invitation. When I would like to talk about actually the development plans concerning Sinai, I would like to start with one of the famous quotes for one of the famous strategic planning science, which is called Henry Mintzberg. It is easy to plan, but it is difficult to implement. Actually, we have a lot of ambitious plan concerning Sinai, and concerning Egypt overall, especially Sinai. This is valuable part that we paid a lot in terms of effort, money, a lot of our blood. Thank you. And this valuable land, actually, concerning the development plan, we have a lot of ambitious plan. The challenge was in the implementation, actually. And if we can elaborate this to you and our audience today in a nutshell. When we are talking about this land, we have to focus on a lot of things. One of the main, in my humble opinion, which is the most valuable asset on this land, which is a human being. To start from the first point, the human being. Actually, the Presidential Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the Prime Minister, they have an ambitious plan concerning investing on our assets, the human beings, to have a development plans. And in my humble opinion, if you'd like to build any country, you have to invest on the human being. And if we talk about the human being, you have to invest in two main pillars: the education part and the health part. And you can see easily that actually Sinai is taking a great portion or allocation for the education part. As far as I call it, reached to 23 billion, something like that.
That's for Sinai and the canal cities,
and
correct?
Canal cities, yes, thank you. And this is a great portion from our education budget. And on other term, for the health budget, we have allocated a lot of money for this part, and building a new hospitals and allocating professional doctors to this part. And this is possibly impact Sinai in terms of investing in people, increasing the awareness, education, and health. And then after that, we go to the most significant and important part, the GDP structure. As you know, and our audience, our GDP structure actually consists of three main parts, which is the first part, the agricultural part, the second part, which is the industrial part, and as you know, and our audience, the third part, which is the service part. If any country would like to have what we are calling it a quick win, we have to focus on the service part. Why? Simply, this is the highest added value. Accordingly, the government and presidential leadership is giving a priority for this part. And this part, you can see that it includes a lot of things. One of them, the tourism part, which has the highest added value, in addition to the new what I have to call it, the new era of our world. As you know, and our audience, that we are in a life that the only constant in this life
is change.
Actually, thank you. Accordingly, according to the digital transformation, there's a lot of industries that depend on mainly programming and the ships and the electronic things, and the government is doing a great investments and the alliances with multinational companies to invest in Sinai and allocating this and facilitating everything in this part. And for tourism, they have a lot of things and a great projects for Sinai. And in addition to, as you know, and our audience, our one of the most important mega projects actually that help Sinai to develop, like Canal Suez, actually, and the housing, let me quote you, the housing projects. If you would like to have the manpower and you invest on them, you have to facilitate things to people to work and develop on the country, actually, in a proper way. To turn back to our points in terms of the development plans, the government has an ambitious plan concerning linking Sinai to what we are
the mainland.
The mainland, to the mainland. Actually, they started with the infrastructure, and we have a lot of great infrastructure that connect Sinai with the mainland, actually. And we have a lot of roads and facilitating things. You can go from Cairo to Sinai in like 4 hours, something like that, on new roads easily. And this is positively impact a lot of things, the trade, actually the tourism cycle, and increasing what we are calling it the belonging to the land, to the motherland, or the mainland, actually. And this was a crucial. For a long time, you can see easily that a lot of people, they are claiming Sinai is a little bit separated from overall Egypt, and this is not true. Actually, it's part of it, and it was a great and most valuable part of it. And I would like to comment on one of the most metaphors. I love it, your metaphor actually concerning saying in spite of Sinai that requires land, peace land, the love land, actually. Those metaphors are great, actually. They are reflecting what in our bottom of our hearts as an Egyptian people. If we segregate the development plans, I would like to start with one of the most important things, the highest added part, which is the service part. We have a great plan concerning have a new hotels, actually, increasing the number of tourists to Sinai, facilitating things, expand the electricity, expand everything for this part, and positively it reflected on increasing the tourist numbers. And we can see easily that the occupation rate on a lot of hotels, actually, it increased. It's almost doubled. In addition to this, we are calling it the part of the tourism part, and in addition to the industrial part, which is the new industry or the programming and a lot of things, ships that included in our mobiles and a lot of cars. Now you can see that we are in a digital era, actually, and everything is depending on the electronic part. We have a lot of factories and doing a great strategic alliances with multinational companies, and you can see the synergy between all sectors in our countries. They are facilitating things and providing them tax waiver, actually, providing land with special rates. I can't say it was special rates, and this is depend on hiring people from Sinai or Egypt overall, actually, and they are giving priority for Sinai residents, actually, in addition to helping us in the manufactured products to actually export them, and this is positively reflect on our balance of payment. As you know, and our audience, we have one of the most important ambitious plan overall Egypt, that Presidential Abdel Fattah Sisi is sponsoring it in a strong way, that to reach 100 billion export, $100 billion export, non-petroleum export, and this is quite smart. As you know, and our audience, that all the globe is nowadays is driving actually from counting on non-renewable energy or non-renewable resources to renewable resources, and Sinai is one of the most important parts that reach with renewable energy.
Indeed, solar, wind, hydro,
yeah, everything. This is the service part, and if we go for the industrial part, as I highlighted, we have a lot of factories that opened with tax deviation and facilities and giving and providing them electricity and a lot of things, and counting on expanding the non-renewable energy, and this is aligned with the global vision to increase our carbon footprint, counting on what? Counting on renewable energy. And it was a great signal that, as far as I recall, we hosted COP27.
Yes, November 22.
Yeah.
Sharm el-Sheikh.
Yeah. Sharm el-Sheikh, Sinai. And this was a great signal or a great message that Sinai is the most valuable part, is sponsoring what we are calling it sustainability nowadays. To the last part on our GDP structure, which is the agriculture part, as you know, and our audience, this is one of the most important things, because if we don't own our food, we will not own our decision, and this is what we are calling it. It's national security. Accordingly, to connect Sinai and have a lot of things there in terms of providing food, the supply chain, electricity, everything, the developing and service part, everything. Those main pillars are shaping Sinai, and I believe, in my humble opinion, in the coming years it will be one of the most important parts that will be a great business and touristic area for Egypt, that the globe will come to it.
Inshallah. Dr. Roshdy, this is a very important part of our land. It's so strategic. It links Africa with Asia. I mean, Sinai throughout history has had its influence on the course of events. It's Sinai dictates what happens really on a number of times. So again, the importance of having hundreds of thousands, of having millions living in this precious part of our land for security, for stability, for the sake of the human capital's needs, for development in Egypt at large, for Egypt's economic growth.
Actually, we can say that Sinai is the gateway to Africa and Asia, and actually those Asia especially is the most, it has actually the highest number of population, the highest number of population globally, and it's what we are calling, and Africa continent actually is what they are calling it
the richest in resources.
Riches in resources, all over resources, and they are calling it in another term. It comes to top of my minds. One of my international friends is saying about, or metaphorically, when we are saying Africa, he is saying a metaphor for it, the youth continent. actually.
Yeah.
Because why he's calling it like that, and the globe is calling it like that? Because if you compare the pyramid of age for African citizen, you can see that the majority of citizens are youth, and this is one of the most crucial resources. And
Yes.
if you compare it with Europe, for example, the pyramid is totally inverted. The majority are elder. Accordingly, we have the manpower, and Egypt is considered the gateway for Africa and Asia. Asia is one of the most crucial markets globally, and it was one of the most potential markets. For that reason, investing in Sinai will help us to best utilize our resources, Africa resources, and at the same time to increase our export in terms to our neighborhoods for Asia and Europe. And this possibly will reflect on our ambitious plan to have a great economic growth. And you can see easily that this is happening in a proper way, and in what we are calling it has a ranged plan, or in another term, we have specified milestones. But the mechanism that Presidential Fattah al-Sisi and the government is working on it, which is called the agile mechanism. What is the agile mechanism? It's the agility term, to simplify to our audience. Part of it depends on the flexibility to respond to what is going globally. As I told you and our audience, I recalled one of the famous quotes for Heraclitus, one of the old philosophers: the only constant in the life is a change. Accordingly, we are in a world that is totally dynamic. According to
especially nowadays.
According to have the what we are calling agility to respond to what is happening in a proper way, this is a great thing. In addition to, we have projects. We shouldn't wait till finalizing the entire project. We can go step by step. What we are calling it slowly but surely.
Yeah. Dr. Roshdy, President al-Sisi said in his speech celebrating the occasion, of course, of the liberation of Sinai, the 25th of April, that great day, that this is not only a remarkable victory, but also, quote, a unique demonstration of the nation's will, unquote. So I want you to talk to us indeed about the sacrifices of the Egyptian people back then to restore their land, to regain their land, the people, the armed forces, everybody really, and the importance of deducting lessons from that great success, great achievement for the future. And the importance also of focusing on such a victory as a role model for the upcoming generations, and to give the sense of really belonging and affiliation.
Actually, it was, we have a lot of great lessons, and the conclusion of this, we are a nation. If we insist to achieve something, we will achieve it. And this is what we are calling it, and Presidential Fattah al-Sisi, our willingness. We have a great willingness to achieve things, but we have to work on it, to have a clear plan. Actually, we sacrificed a lot and we paid a lot. As you said, metaphorically, we paid effort, money, and the most valuable things, in my humble opinion, the blood that we paid this great land, because this land has a special part in our heart, because we paid a lot to return it back. And we played on two main pillars: the war, and after that we have a great diplomatic plan and the channels to return back to our the remaining part with peace. For that reason, they are calling it the land of peace. And it was a great, when you are calling, when we are talking about the peace part, I was returning back, comes to top of my mind, the visual of President Anwar Sadat, where he go to the Knesset to actually saying that, started his speech, the peace, and he is giving a great message to the globe that Egypt is a great country and we are not aiming to fight anyone unless anyone come and try to attack us. We are peaceful nation, actually. We don't go for any war, and this is with a great message. And if anyone decided or think that he can beat us, we are an unbeatable nation. And I believe that President Sisi emphasized on this a lot of time, that no one can beat Egypt.
No one can take an inch of Egypt's lands. Egypt knows very well how to defend itself. We hope that message of peace will resonate in the region, because it seems our neighbors to the east, the way they are dealing with the Palestinians right now, especially in Gaza, I mean, they don't want peace. I mean, so we hope that the message resonates, and that the voice of peace, and that they would understand that the only solution to the problems is a just and lasting peace, and a solution for the just Palestinian cause based on UN resolutions and based on international law. But it seems it's not resonating with the Israelis.
I believe that our situation is crystal clear, that we are insisting on taking the diplomatic channels to solve any issue, especially the regional issue concerning the Palestinian, our neighbors, and Israeli issue. And this is not the only issue that we are taking this situation, that we have to go for the diplomatic, all the what we are calling it global conflicts. Egypt has a crystal clear situation. You have to go for the diplomatic channels, and it was quite clear. And this is, in my humble opinion, it was one of the most crucial things, or visionary, and to give the credit, honestly, we have to give it to the presidential leadership. He is a visionary. Actually, he is focusing on solving a lot of situations with a diplomatic way, and giving a lot of positive signals to the globe that Egypt is a peaceful country, is seeking for peace, and it's quite safe. Especially the last visit to President Macron, he took him to one of the most crowded places, actually, or neighborhoods on our country, as you know, and all
Khan al-Khalili.
And it was quite nice. And the globe is saying that Egypt is quite peace and safe.
It is.
And it was a great marketing tool. What is in Egypt?
We hope that that peace will prevail also, and that the oppressed Palestinians, especially in Gaza, would taste peace, and that their human suffering would end, and that the Israeli occupation would abide by international laws. As we celebrate this a great memory in the modern Egypt's history, the occasion of the 25th of April, the liberation of Sinai. Dear viewers, unfortunately our time is up for this episode of the Daily Debate. On behalf of you, we thank you very much. Our dear guests with us here in the studio, economic expert Dr. Mohamed Roshdy. Dr. Roshdy, always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you. I do enjoy our episode today.
Same here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you, dear viewers, for watching us. Please stay with 9 TV.